There I am. Hello. Well, those are a couple of really interesting talks with some great ideas, many of which I plan to use or steal. But my talk is going to be one big idea, which is durability. So it might be more boring than the talks you just heard, but that's a strategic choice. Okay? All right. So my background is in digital preservation in academic libraries. I eventually became a software developer. Now I'm director of publishing technology at Michigan Publishing at University of Michigan. And so as a library publisher, which includes the university press, but also open access publishing and a bunch of other stuff, what I want to be is in the forever business as a publisher. And so that's what this project is about, is trying to get closer to being in the forever business. So what is Fulcrum? Well, first of all, with generous support from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation and with our partners on the grant that was awarded from us by Mellon, each of these presses is providing with us a case study, a humanities monograph that happens to be publishing this fall for each of them. And for each of these, there's the author in the course of the research does what digital humanists do. They accumulate a bunch of research materials, things that might be included in the Forerunner series, right? So they might be supplemental materials that might be related to the book. They might just be the source materials that went into the authoring of the book. They can't be included in the book either because of format, it's print in these cases, or just for economy, for the economics of production. So what we want to build is the durable platform where that content could be hosted and presented with permanent or persistent URLs or DOIs that the print book could link to, and eventually the digital book would be hosted on the same platform. So I'm going to show you some quick wireframes. Oh, so this is solving the author website problem. So authors can do this now. They can take all their source materials and they can throw them up on WordPress or whatever. But in 5 years, that's going to likely decay and go away. And then if you dared to print a link to it in your print monograph, you have a dead link in your book. So we want to avoid that problem. So here's some wireframes. Nothing too interesting because we're in early stages of developing the front end. We're really busy building the back end and the data model for everything. But essentially what you're seeing here is the idea of a presentation around the book. You have your title page and some information about the book itself, and then a presentation of all of the media assets that would be related to the book. Right? So this is before we have the digital text on the platform. This is just, and it's basically like a repository for assets related to a book. That's just the foundation that we're building for the fully digital text to be on there. Here we go. If you were to focus on a specific asset, then you could get more. You get the metadata. It's a very library-like view that we want to evolve and get more towards a publishing type view of this content. So we're using the agile process. So we're working with our stakeholders to get feedback, and we'll be developing this as we go along. But I don't want to talk so much about what we're building as how we're building it. And so on our Fulcrum platform, which is what we're calling this thing, our 3 values that we really want to champion are flexibility, durability, and discoverability. And the one today I want to talk about is durability. And the question is, how do you achieve durability? Well, the way we're going to try to achieve durability is building within our library infrastructure and then building with open community-driven tools. So let me talk first about the tools. Fedora Commons, very short history. I don't even know how long ago. It's a Java-based framework for building your own digital repository. It's totally flexible. It's totally awesome. It's too hard to use. So it got very little adoption. And then in 2008, if I'm right, University of Virginia, University of Hull, Stanford, and Fedora Commons got together and said, let's build an application layer on top of that repository that abstracts all that Fedora stuff away. All you have to do is deal with this application stack, and now you can build up a repository much more quickly with much less effort to get your content in, deliver it back out into your digital repository. So they got together and they built this thing, and now the community has grown and grown, and there's like 50-some members now who are all contributing code into the code base. There's a number of institutional repositories that are in production using the system. There are media repositories like the Avalon system developed by Northwestern Indiana. We're trying to turn that into a publishing platform. So pushing it in a new direction. What do I want to say about that? So what's great about open access is we're not locked into a proprietary format. The whole stack is open access all the way down. So as long as this community stays vibrant, and we are contributing back into it, we're inheriting fixes that other institutions are making at their local instances. We're contributing back. We're looking for a vibrant ecosystem of the software itself. So when we made the decision to adopt Hydra at University of Michigan, take heed, don't try to read this. It's too small. But that's okay, because it says a lot of things I don't want you to pay attention to. So we adopted Hydra specifically at first for our research data repository. We wanted to go into this space. We needed a technology solution. So we said, well, let's use Hydra because repositories is what it's really for. But since it's really designed to be an enterprise-wide solution, let's use it enterprise-wide. So Morris York, our AUL for Library Information Technology, came up with this visualization, I think just to help him sort of think about all the ways that we could apply this technology for library services. And so all the core things you'd expect to be on here are up here, like digital collections, library collections, discovery, even e-reserves, and then lo and behold, right there is publishing workflows and publishing for end users. So what we're trying to do by building on this Hydra stack within the University of Michigan context is take library publishing and now the University Press now that reports to the library as this sort of ancillary thing which we try to run on library infrastructure as much as we can. Now it's embedded in the library infrastructure. So it goes into the same repository that all of this other content for these other library services goes into. So we use the same preservation policies, the same durability of access policies, all the things that libraries do because that's our mission, that's built into our publishing platform. So it's not, we take care of that worry up front, which is why we're building the boring stuff first, get that foundation set, and then we add the exciting stuff later. So that's the idea. And so what that means is, that's how we get our preservation of content and durability of access. Great slide. I'm glad I stopped on it. OK, so our first Hydra application in production is the data repository, Deep Blue Data. Beta version launched in February. So this is our first Hydra app. Fulcrum will have most of the same technology stack under it, and just the publishing specific stuff will be customized on top. So that way we're not on our own on an island as publishers trying to work within a library. And what this will culminate in is by the grant expires for all of us in 2018, March 2018. So by then we'll have our 5th case study, which is our first fully digital monograph with some Unity 3D content embedded. That's exciting too. And we've already made an agreement with the Lever Press, which is the Oberlin group, getting together and forming their own university press. Amherst University is doing the editorial, we're doing production, and it'll be hosted on Fulcrum. So that's the first step towards like the next stage of Fulcrum, which is, in the opening keynote, we talked about like identify your strengths and attack those aggressively. Well, what Michigan has that other university press publishers and definitely library publishers don't have is that digital infrastructure. We've got a lot of resources to build this stuff. Let's lease that out. Let's offer our infrastructure as a service. So we're doing now is trying to come up with the cost model to figure out, okay, so if you wanted to host your digital publishing concern on our platform, on our infrastructure, what would that business arrangement look like? So we're working on that now. Stay tuned if you're interested. More information on our website. You can sign up for email updates, and I probably talked enough. So Monica, something interesting.
That was interesting.